Hello everyone, my name is Kasaya. I'm here to do a tarot reading for you. So if you have found yourself here, you might find some messages for you. Please do not force anything. Take what fits, leave the rest. All right, I hope you find something in here that will be helpful, beneficial. We're going to start with I have two new decks here. I have the Doodle Tarot and the Yin Yang Oracle. I have not used these yet, so they are brand new to me. We're gonna get started. Doodle Tarot, what do we have for the collective? We have the Four of Swords and we have the Five of Swords. Okay, so for the collective, you've definitely gone through some sort of conflict in the near past, or the recent past, should I say. You've gone through some sort of conflict. Now, this could have been more internal, swords having to do with the mental realms. It could have been more internal, but it could have been external as well. There was just something that made you feel. There was something that made you feel like you had to defend something, whether internally or against something externally. There's something that caught you up that made you feel kind of defeated, like you couldn't get out of something. There was a struggle. There was some sort of struggle. It was something that took up a lot of mental space. Now we have the Four of Swords here, which is telling me that there is relief from this. The battle has finished. Something has ended. The conflict has ended, or the conflict has been resolved. There is no longer this tension and pulling and tugging here. Okay. We see the sun coming in. You're taking in the rays of the sun. There's a warmth. There's a relief here. You're replenishing. The sun is giving life after this here battle. Okay, we'll get more into it. Oh, we have the Six of Swords as well. So yeah, we have the four, the five in the middle, and the Six of Swords. So you're definitely moving into calmer waters. There's definitely something that could have been quite triggering. Okay, or whether this was an external, again, whether this was an external situation or it was something that was triggered internally. There was a mental state, there was a mental health issue, there was something of that sort. Whatever it might be, you are moving into calmer waters. You are seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. You are maybe just seeing things more optimistically, more clearly, more openly. Okay, maybe you're having a little bit more hope and inspiration at this time, but you're moving on. There's relief. You have great relief here. Replenishment, relief. Those are the words that are coming up today. Replenishment, relief. I'll get into here this Five of Swords. Spirit, what about this Five of Swords? What about this Five of Swords? The Chariot. Okay, so this had something to do with power struggle. Okay, it could have been with someone external of you, or it could have been within the self. It could have been that you were trying to find self-control or self-discipline, that you were trying to pull certain parts of yourself together, and they were kind of clashing and not working very well together. You've overcome something within the self, at the very least. Even if this was there was external conflict, it's like you have stepped away from this external conflict, so therefore it has ended, or there has been some sort of resolution. And whichever way it went, you have taken on a level of self-control. Okay, there's a willpower. You took on willpower to make it through some sort of situation, or to move away from a situation with that Six of Swords here, to move away from a situation. You have the Seven of Wands as well. You stood up for yourself. You were assertive. And because the last collective reading seemed to be regarding conflict with the self, that's what I'm going to relate this to. I'm going to relate this as though this was an internal conflict, okay? But take it as it resonates. I may be talking about you in an internal conflict, but relate it to your external situation, okay? But you definitely stood up. You stood up to yourself. You were assertive with some sort of boundaries or limits with yourself, something that you needed to do for yourself, something that you needed to get done, something that you needed to accomplish or pull together in order for there to be this relief, this replenishment. Okay, you you had to, there's a responsibility here. You had to take a higher level of responsibility. You had to put your, put your big girl panties on, pull yourself up by the bootstraps. You had to take on that willpower. You had to take on some courage. You had to take on some, um, yeah, that assertive energy within you had to come forth. Okay, which is very fitting for Aries season. Okay, Aries is doing its part. All right, but yeah, there was some sort of power struggle. It was a internal struggle with the self, like fighting with the self. Maybe like an old part of the self not wanting to let go, an old part of the self that wanted to be top dog. Yeah, the Seven of Wands. Okay, if we turn the Seven of Wands in the reverse, this one's about like, this one's not standing up for the self, right? The Seven of Wands in the reversed is not being true to the voice, not being authentic to the self, not listening to the gut, not following one's own guidance. Okay, so it's like you were allowing an old pattern or an old part of the self or a triggered part of the self, whatever it may be, to walk over you, to push over your limits and your boundaries. Like you were pushing your own limits and boundaries. Okay, so it was something that had to be, it was like you were with that Chariot and the Seven of Wands in the reverse, you were lacking the bravery to tackle the challenge that was ahead of you, or you felt like you couldn't do it. You felt like you didn't have enough, or you felt like you didn't have the resources, or something like that. And it seems like you had to pull through that with sheer willpower. There's a switch of the mind, right? The Four of Swords, the Five of Swords, the Six of Swords. It was a switch of the mind. It was a decision. It was a thought process. It was a switch of the mind. A perspective change. What do we got here? We have the Nine of Pentacles and the Six of Swords. Okay, so yeah, now we're going forward. It brought the Six of Swords back out. Now the movement is here. We have the Six of Swords, the Eight of Wands. Movement is here. The wait is over. Something is coming into fruition here with the Nine of Pentacles, or time is ripe to, or this is where you're headed towards, quite possibly. I didn't do a past, present, future. I just brought the cards out here. It could be that you're moving into this phase where there's something coming into fruition. You're moving out of troubled waters and you're moving into fruition, into reward for your own labor, for overcoming this challenge, for overcoming this struggle. You could be feeling a lot more confident, a lot more radiant. You could be glowing a little bit more. The home life could be a little bit more stable regarding these pentacles, or it could be the work life. You're just feeling more stable. It doesn't have to be home work. It could just be that internal. You're feeling more internally stable, structured, okay? And it feels good. It feels good with this Nine of Pentacles here. We have the sun shining, and they have their eyes closed, and they're just beaming. They're beaming with this glow, and even the bird's happy. The bird's got his eyes closed. Everything's beaming. It's just a radiant, warm energy. Enjoying the sun would be very beneficial. Or maybe you have been enjoying the sun. There's something, the sun gives life. Get outside, right? Enjoy look, the petals. You know what? I'm going to leave the petals in the frame because I like it. I like the yellow. All right, we have the Seven of Pentacles here and the Six of Wands. So yeah, there's something here that's coming to fruition. There's something here that you will be able to celebrate, and it's because you've been committed to something. Talking committed, the Hierophant, the Ten of Pentacles. This could be around home, family life, but it's really at the base. It's structure and security in the core of the self. It's a certainty. It's a groundedness, right? There's something that you have been committed to, and it's like your hard work is to be paying off. Okay, you pulled yourself out of some sort of situation. So do expect, not high expectations, okay? Back burner, grain of salt. Expect a reward of some sort. Doesn't mean it's going to be big, but there's a growth here. You've cultivated a great positive energy. So you could get some good news, or you could have a joyous event to attend. You could get a raise. You could get a lump sum of money um, I don't know, settlement. Yeah, court settlements, etc. Maybe some of you are getting your taxes back. I don't know. It's just something, and it doesn't have to be money either. There's just some little reward that will show up here to reassure you that you are victorious. Okay, we have the Six of Wands and the Chariot card. These are both cards of victory, of success, of overcoming, of triumph. Okay, so it's something that was really hard to something that might have been really hard to overcome, and you pulled yourself out of it. This is celebratory energy. You're even if there isn't anything that necessarily comes in, it's an energy. It's this energy of celebration. It's this energy of joy. It's a energy of groundedness and stability that is to be celebrated and will be celebrated. A felt celebration. We have the Death card and the Five of Wands. There's an ending to some sort of conflict. And now with the Five of Wands coming out, this really could have been something outside of you. Or maybe the internal conflict, like that internal conflict was causing external conflict, whatever it might be. But there was definitely some sort of clashing internally and externally that caused a lot of strife, that caused some grief, maybe caused some confusion, caused you to lack courage. But you've definitely pulled up out of this. There's been an ending. All right, there's been some sort of change. You've implemented some sort of change and have let go of something internally or externally. Okay, I believe this to be internal. Take it as it resonates. All right, any other information, Spirit, for the collective? Any other information for the collective, Spirit? We have the Three of Swords and Nine of Wands. Maybe this is what you were experiencing before. There was some pain. There was some heart pain. There was some grief, as I had said. There was some grief here. And it could have been like a lack of faith, a lack of trust in the self, a lack of hope, a lack of inspiration. It could have been pretty hard on the self. There could have been a lot of painful thoughts, seems like some mental health here. We have the Three of Wands and the Four of Wands and the Strength card. And this is you pulled yourself out. This is coming back to you pulled yourself out. You were in a lot of pain. Maybe you were stuck there for a little bit. Okay, I'd seen the Nine of Wands a couple times now. Maybe you were stuck there for a little bit. It felt like an uphill battle. It felt like it was never going to end. It felt like every time you got to a certain place, it just kind of exploded again. It was like it was repetitive or recurring, or it was building. It seemed like it was just getting bigger instead of resolving itself. But you took on, it's like you became focused. You focused on getting out of something. You focused on feeling the grief and the heartbreak. You focused on releasing the trauma. You focused on rewiring the perspectives, the mental patterns that were causing you to feel this pain, or to be in heartbreak, or to be in conflict. Okay, there's something of a resolution here. Relief, replenishment, resolution. And it's very happy. Okay, you started to look ahead. Maybe you were looking too much in the past. The Three of Swords, that's pain, that's hurt, that's betrayal past. Right? That's things that have done us in. And it seemed that you had to look towards the future with the Three of Wands, that you had to look towards the light, to look towards the end of the tunnel, to look not at what's in the past, not at, what you're moving away from. It's like you really had to feel what you've been through and not be attached to it anymore, because no matter how painful things can be, when we've gone through a significant amount of pain, of trauma, of betrayal, etc., it's something that really sticks with us, especially in the nervous system. And even when we want to let go of it, we can still hang on to it because of a fear of the repetition. If I let go of this, it's going to come back to me, right? If I forget about this, or I don't remember it, then I'm going to forget how to deal with it if it comes up again. So these kinds of thoughts, it's like you became comfortable, you became used to holding on to that, and it's shaping your perspective, and until it became conflictual. Is that a word? Until it, caused issues. And it was like, okay, we have to get rid of this trauma. We have to get rid of this pain. It can't keep fogging our windows. It can't keep shading our vision. We have to release this pain. We have to release these perspectives. Okay, these self-fulfilling prophecies I just heard, these ways of, it's like expecting, preparing for pain that you've endured before, and then creating that because of that triggered state. What you focus on grows, and you adjusted your focus from the past, from the pain, towards the possibility, towards what hasn't happened yet, what could happen. Okay, it's like it seems here with the Strength card and the Four of Wands that you brought together positive mindset. You brought something together here. This seems, I haven't seen anybody else, I haven't seen like another energy, an external energy pop up. Even with the Five of Wands, when that came up, like it doesn't feel like an external energy. It could be. Like it doesn't mean it's not for you if it's not internal, if it was external. But do know that the external was reflecting the internal, okay? But you pulled yourself up by the bootstraps. Silly phrase, but you did. And there's a lot of, you pull on your inner strength, your resources, the tools in your tool belt, okay? You change your perspective from I can't do this to I can do this. And then you did. There was an acceptance of some sort of future. It's like you were holding on to the past because you were so used to it. You didn't know anything else. So what happens when you let go of it? What happens when you let go of it is you get to create it, right? So now you're in this transition where you're moving out from the pain. You're moving away. You've moved away from the pain. You've moved away from the conflict. You've taken action. You are in this rest and replenishment, and you're moving into the possibility. You're moving into what may lie ahead of you. It's like you had, with this Three of Wands, you had some sort of foresight, some sort of forward vision that told you that it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay if you leave something behind, if you put something down, if you walk away. It's okay. And you're being led. You're trusting the self again with the Hermit card. You're trusting the self again. You're relying on your inner guidance to help you find the peace in this phase and help lead you forwards. Okay. And we have the Death card again. And it's coming up again. This is where I'm going to end the reading. This is the end of a cycle. This is the end of, maybe not just a cycle, a phase. Maybe it's the end of a phase. It's the end of a perspective. It's the end of some sort of pain or grief or mindset, right? It's the end of some sort of pattern. The ending has come, which means there is a new beginning here. There's just release happening. And I think you're being encouraged to continue to release that which is meant to be released, to keep your focus on growth, on possibility. Okay. We have the Wheel of Fortune, the Justice card. That's some reassurance right there. Everything's going to be okay. This is telling you to trust in the changes, trust in the adjustments, trust in the flow. Trust in what is coming and going. Trust in what you are letting go of, and trust in what you are creating or what is coming in for you. There is retribution, right? From that which you have moved away from. There is, with that Justice card now here coming up, there is some sort of reward coming in. Again, it doesn't have to be big, doesn't have to be small either. There is some sort of reward coming in, and you're being asked to really appreciate this, to really be grateful for this, but to really be grateful for where you are and trust. There's a lot of trust that they are wanting you to have here with the Three of Pentacles. It's your spirit team is working with you. Okay, you're not alone. It's like behind the scenes. Three of Pentacles, Wheel of Fortune gives me behind the scenes. There's something being crafted for you. Okay, and it's because of the work that you did to pull yourself out of some sort of rut, to pull yourself out of some sort of internal conflict. You sacrificed something with the Death card here. You sacrificed something, and therefore you are being rewarded for doing what was best for yourself, doing what was right for yourself, taking the necessary steps All right. You're learning how to work with yourself here in a much more, because in the last reading it was there was a lot of that fighting with the self, right? It was conflict with the self, not talking the best to yourself. You're learning to work with yourself. You're learning to, maybe there's reparenting going on here. There's a recalibration with the connection, the dynamics within the self. Okay. Internally, there's a recalibration, there's a replenishment. You're learning to work with yourself. And this is allowing you to be more creative in your solutions as you move forward, as you adjust to whatever changes are happening in your life and in your internally and externally. Okay. You're seeing things really clearly right now, and you're being assured that you can trust whatever is coming in for you because you've made the right decision. So I hope that this found everyone that it was meant for. I hope that it found you in a very open and receptive state. And until next time, guys, much love. Bye-bye.